Good afternoon. This is the regular Tuesday, May 15th meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Let's begin with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have an extra?
Okay.
Do you have an extra one?
You gonna take
Yeah,
roll
that's-
call?
Commissioner, I will, but
Okay.
there's your agenda. Okay. Commissioner Riddell,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Yes, today's meeting will consist of two hearings. We will open up the first hearing at the moment, and we will close this one and reopen a second hearing at 4:30. We can't open it until 4:30, correct?
3:45.
Oh, 3:45, okay.
Yep.
Kudos to the one that scheduled it at 3:45. Okay, Garvin, you're up.
Good afternoon, Commissioners,
Good afternoon.
and our guests as well, and staff. This afternoon, we come before you for this second public hearing on our FY25 CDBG funding. We had discussed during the first public hearing available funds throughout the state. Today, I will talk about the awards for our allocation part of CDBG and the CHIP portion of CDBG in this second hearing. So ODOD is awarding Lorain County $648,000 for our allocation grant, CDBG allocation. The following communities and nonprofit has submitted a full application for consideration. 1, the City of Oberlin, $150,000 for a splash pad to be added to the Park Street Park. If a restroom is constructed on this site with this project, total project costs are going to be $514,000. Without the restroom, $314,000. 2, Sheffield Lake is requesting $250,000 for a sewer line improvement and street paving project on East Drive. The total cost of the project in this phase is $738,000. 3, Neighborhood Alliance is requesting $50,000 for a courtyard playground area to be installed at the Haven Center. That's that area right in the middle after the new construction of that facility. This qualifies under the limited clientele criteria of the CDBG program. Total project cost is $160,000. North Ridgeville, 4. North Ridgeville is treated specially by the state. They have what's referred to as dedicated funding under our CDBG allocation. And the reason for that is because of two criteria: population size and the percentage of LMI within that population. So they have the size now, they're not big enough to be an entitlement on their own, but they're big enough and still have a level of need that gives them this dedicated funding. So the state has allotted $150,000 in funding for North Ridgeville. They're applying this funding to the Orenson, Knoll, and Beam, I believe is how it's pronounced, streets project. And that would be for phase 1 of this waterline replacement project. Total estimated cost in this phase is $468,900. 5, the Meals on Wheels program, which is operated by the Neighborhood Alliance, has been a program funded by this board for a number of years. It feeds the elderly throughout the county. Under this public service criteria, funding is capped at 15%. That will equate to $97,200. So those are the applications for us to before us as far as discussion now. So there are admin fees, of course, that needs to come off of the $648,000, and that's 20% of the overall grant, okay, which represents $129,000 in admin fees. Part of admin fees has to be spent on fair housing. We have contracted fair housing to the Fair Housing Center out of Cleveland for a number of years. So we are looking to give a somewhat modest increase in that funding in the upcoming year, or program year, I should say. We are going to probably need to look at additional dollars, because in the past, they've been able to leverage other grant programs, federal programs. If those programs aren't there, I would not be surprised if there is a need. So we would then be looking at making some adjustments within the admin portion of the grant to try to assist.
Are you done with item 2?
Yes.
Before we move on, you're using a Cleveland Fair Housing Board or Cleveland company, and we're sending them our money. Is there a reason why it's not staying in? We don't have that type of capabilities in Lorain County?
Well, I would say that the Fair Housing Center, represents a wider area than just.
So like Northeast
city.
Ohio, would you say?
Right. Yes, not just the
Are
city
they
of
the
Cleveland.
only ones? Because I know one commissioner's always worried about single bids, so. Sorry,
Well-
I had to say that. So.
It's okay, I own it.
They're not the only ones who can do this.
Because you're asking
They-
for more
however-
money, and the way what I just heard you say is it sounds like we're gonna have to come up with additional money from somewhere else.
We may, is what I'm saying.
Government may means we're going to, that's how I read it, so maybe we
Okay.
don't have to, but,
So if we can read the tea leaves of what's
Okay.
happening in Washington,
good luck.
we have benefited in the past, like I said, from
Yeah.
them having other grant programs. So we paid a very small, very, very modest amount for the services they provide. So I'm just, in essence, preparing you for the fact that we may have to juggle some things around a little bit in order to pay for the services.
Well, after visiting the Western Reserve Office on Aging, they have seen since January, they've already run out of their emergency rental relief money. And the biggest push they're getting right now is just homelessness for our seniors. And I just want to make sure that if there's something going on in our county, sometimes we get ignored because there's a bigger need in a bigger community like Cleveland. And I want to make sure that we have needs here in our county, and if
Right.
we're sending this stuff out, how do I know this is being proportioned? I mean, are they just doing administrative work and they're just doing that? I mean, that's what I don't know, and that's
Okay.
why.
Yes. So they handle the complaints that come in that relate to fair housing. So they
So it's
take,
just fair housing only then?
yes,
Okay.
fair housing only. So they would take the complaints in, make a decision on whether or not there is probably a fair housing issue violation. and assist the client in trying to get relief through
Okay.
the various legal means at the state level and, if necessary, federally.
Okay, but if you're gonna come back, let's just say hypothetically, you're gonna come back, or before are we gonna execute a contract with them? Are you coming back to this board, or is this something your department will do on its own?
Well, we come back to execute a contract.
Okay, so what I'd like to see, if you're gonna do something like that, is the history of complaints from Lorain County that they've represented, and I'd like to see, you know, what we're getting for our money then.
Yes,
Just
and-
I'm just warning you as we move forward,
Mhm.
whoops, that, you know, what I'll be looking for.
Yes, we can certainly provide that
Okay.
to you. Also, please note that they do the fair housing contract for the city of Lorain and the city of Elyria as well.
Oh,
So
that's their
if-
problems. I'm just worried about the county right now.
But if you look at
Yeah.
it in its totality,
Yep,
that would cover all of the CDBG-related areas,
that's,
the entire county.
right, and that's what I would be
So it
looking
is
at.
significant.
Thank
for
you.
us. You're welcome.
I wouldn't call that a warning. I think he was just sharing that
There
with
you
you.
go, thank you.
But he went to the dentist today, so
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
he's a little bit
I'm
on
trying
edge.
not to drool, so, you know.
Question, Garvin.
Yes.
You listed off a bunch of projects, and if we take the 600 and some thousand minus the 120,000 administrative, I didn't see any two projects that would not exceed the 500,000. So how do we allocate partial grants to projects?
Well, no, we can only, and that's what I'm just about to get to on there. Under the rules set forth by the Ohio Department of Development, Lorain County, outside of North Richville, because they have dedicated funding now, we can only do 3 projects. So we have to choose, obviously, those 3 projects.
Are you talking about the 5 we have to choose?
Unfortunately, we do have to choose.
Oh.
It's a hard choice to make. Our deliberations within the department have not been easy, necessarily, because everything is worth funding, honestly. But you will see that for Oberlin, for instance, we are, going to recommend another source of funding to them, which will be the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, because they would qualify under their guidelines. Okay, so while the department will not recommend allocation funding for the city of Oberlin, we certainly would like to at least point them in another direction. Okay, so we are going to recommend to the board to fund the Sheffield Lake Sewer Line Improvement Project, which they've requested $250,000. And as far as the math is concerned, after the administrative portion is taken out and North Ridgeville's dollars, we have about $300,000 left to do 2 projects, a maximum of 2.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm showing we have 519,000, then you subtract North Ridgeville's what, 150 from that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah,
So you got 369,000 left?
yes, yes.
What?
I'm sorry.
So you got 369,000 we have to choose from, or what I miss?
Okay, all right, so, let me go down the list then.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So from the 648,
Yeah,
if you subtract our administrative costs of 129,000,
mm-hmm,
then also subtract the 15% Meals on Wheels number.
wait a minute, what do you mean subtract?
Okay, if we are to go with the history of the board and its funding under the public service area, Meals on Wheels program would be funded, right? So if you were to take that 97, and at 15% is what we've been doing in the past, if you take that, it's $97,200. Okay?
Oh, it's, okay.
So
15
is
15%.
97.2 the net, or is 97.2 subtract 15% off?
I just did the numbers. It's 15% of
Of
648,000.
648, yes,
So that means 97,200 is going to Meals on Wheels.
yes.
So, and you're saying that that's historical, but is that required in the grant?
It is not required to do a Meals on Wheels program. You know, the final decision is the board's decision, right? Based on the history of what the board has been doing, which is to fund a public service, and Meals on Wheels has been the chosen public service for a number of cycles. So that is the built-in recommendation to the board. But the board can decide to fund that or not to
Because the
fund.
Meals on Wheels is kind of a temporary kind of thing. All the rest of these are permanent improvements.
Yes,
It doesn't seem, I guess I'm just a little uncomfortable with both of those being in the same pot.
yes, I do understand. Now, CDBG is meant to do several things, not just brick and mortar type activities. CDBG can be used for economic development activities, okay? Our RLF loan, for instance, that our economic development side does, that's from CDBG funding, okay? Out of the allocation, we can do a project, for instance, in relation to economic development that is not a brick and mortar type of project. The infrastructure type projects is what we've chosen to do a lot of in the past, and which is why we are certainly recommending the infrastructure project for Sheffield Lake. North Ridgeville is doing an infrastructure project as well.
With their allocation.
With their,
They're doing the water line.
yes, correct. Okay, so we have two allocation projects that are dedicated to that heavy infrastructure type development within a low to moderate income area.
So to get it straight, we have $648,000
Yes,
minus $120,000 for administrative fees, minus $97,200. That comes out to $430,800. Is that correct so far?
The administrative portion, it should come out to
Oh,
129,000.
129, okay. I think I did that math correct.
422.
So I'm gonna use round numbers, start with the 650,
Right.
take the admin fee, 130, right around 130. The North Ridgeville 150 has to come off the top there before you get to the three projects that the county's eligible to choose from. So that's how you get to Garvin's number 400, whatever that number is. So the three projects that we can award out of the remaining balance historically has been the Meals on Wheels program. Doesn't have to always be that, but just historically, that's what the county's done. If you take that 15% out, rounding up to 100,000, that leaves about 300,000 left. Correct? I mean, my math, and
Right.
of which the recommendation is 250 for Oberlin and 50,000 for Ridgeville. Correct?
No, 50,000 for the Haven Center project.
Haven Center project. That's the recommendation. So if you break it down, once again, 650 is the number, take the admin out, take the North Ridgeville number out, that's what's left for three projects. And so that's kind of the pot you have to work with, and then based on the applications received is the recommendation Garvin is referring to.
And then the administrative fees are set in stone, aren't they?
They're a percentage, fixed
It's,
percentage.
it's a percentage, 20% of the overall grant.
And we use
We
that as
can't-
revenue for the budget for the department, correct?
We are eligible to receive reimbursement for certain eligible costs. And yes, part of that is our administrative costs, hourly rate, also fees and other costs associated with administering a CDBG program. Yes.
And like, for example, if North Ridgeville's gotta find their own money for the remaining part of it, and have all of these projects verified they have the remaining money?
They have been in the process of doing ordinances, okay, both North Ridgeville and Sheffield Lake. So they have indicated that they do have the funding to move forward with their project. North Ridgeville has committed to moving forward with at least phase one out of the allocation. They have also requested critical infrastructure grant application. Okay, and that's for $500,000. I haven't gotten to the critical infrastructure part of it yet,
Right.
which I think would help put a better frame around this discussion, because they can now leverage the allocation dollars as local dollars in order to obtain other funding. Right? Plus, with the critical infrastructure application, what they look at there is, what would you do if it's not funded, right? We know that in both cases, Sheffield Lake and North Ridgeville, they will go ahead with portions of the project in PY 25.
So here, let me simplify it. We have 5 requests here. North Ridgeville's automatically getting theirs, it looks like. So we have to choose between 4. And if it looks like you guys aren't recommending a splash pad, so we're down to numbers 2, 3, and 5, and we'll be able to fund 2, 3, and 5? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay, so 2, 3, and 5, we have enough money to fund those out of the 5 requests. The only one that looks like you're recommending is that we don't fund number 1, which is the splash pad.
right.
I'm just simplifying this.
Yes,
that's all. So
yes,
there's money
that is
for
correct.
everything except item number 1, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Commissioners, and one of the things when we receive these is we try to align additional or alternate funding sources so that we can better allocate our resources to kind of a best need in these scenarios. So we are able to connect Oberlin to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, who has grant programs specifically for these types of projects. So that way, the city's able to take advantage of other funding sources, and we're able to dedicate ours towards the remaining 3 projects. So we're not leaving them high and dry and saying, no, we're saying, we're not able to help you at this time, but here's an alternative that we believe could be a beneficial
Well, the
use to
county was very instrumental 25 years ago in funding the splash zone there. We used a lot of the recycling fund because there was a lot of excess cash there. So we were involved at that time, and that was being used for the county as a whole, though. And so we have helped the city in the past, so.
Garvin, are you looking for a decision from us tonight on how to allocate these monies?
No.
Okay.
Because we will be having another public hearing. We need to publish our recommendations
Okay,
and allow the public time to submit their opinion.
You're only
or questions.
recommending 2 items out of the, you're not recommending number 5. You're only recommending Sheffield Lake and Neighborhood Alliance.
Right, but in essence, also number 5, because if the board chooses not to do Meals on Wheels, it can allocate those dollars to another project.
I'm aware of that. I've just noticed that you're saying we're gonna move forward with another public hearing, and you're gonna publish the recommendations of
The
your department, not this board, correct?
Right, that is correct.
And then
Uh,
what will happen at the next hearing then? Is that when we will be able, that's when we'll make decisions? Or do we, is that something, we just have a third hearing, and then it goes to a commissioners board meeting? Is that how?
Yeah, so we have that third meeting scheduled basically for May 23rd,
Okay,
the hearing, and then they will need the resolution done hopefully on the 3rd, if not by the 6th, because it's due on the 8th.
okay. Oh, we're cutting it short.
So the Meals on Wheels,
Yes.
$97,200. People rely on that are for, the seniors and
Yes.
some of the disabled and all that. That's a tough pill to swallow to take that out of that budget.
Well, that's their ask, right? Or they're
Yeah.
asking again, so. And everybody's getting hit. I mean, every nonprofit's getting hit right now, especially feed,
Right,
feed.
yeah, these are very, very tough choices.
Mhm.
I
I'd rather
I
feed
don't
people
envy
than build a
your
swimming
position.
pool. Or I should say a splash pad.
I think feeding people takes the top priority
And-
personally, but.
Well, I'd like more information on the constituent base for the Meals on Wheels. Whether it's, people without transportation or whether it is seniors, and if so, what are the requirements for the Neighborhood Alliance? What's their requirement for service? Because again, the part I'm struggling with is the Meals on Wheels is very temporal compared to the other stuff, which is, you're gonna do a water line, you're gonna get rid of lead water lines and put in new water lines. That's a permanent improvement for a great number of people. That's not just, for the next 6 months for Meals on Wheels. It's, that's a forever improvement. And likewise with the sewers, the sewers for Sheffield Lake, trying to help them do their thing. So I'm trying to justify why we wanna do beyond, that's what we've always done. I'm trying to justify why we wanna continue with the Meals on Wheels part of it.
Right, and that's a valid,
But you're saying that up to 15% can be used for
Yes.
community service, doesn't have to be,
it does not have to be.
okay.
And what was
cap
funded
is
last
15%.
year? What was funded last year?
15% of our allocation, which I think came out to $85,000 or so.
Okay. Is that historically about how much gets funded every year?
Yes.
Yes, and did we seek, there's a dozen or better people that do Meals on Wheels. Did we seek, or was Neighborhood Alliance the only one applied for the funding?
Well, prior to this, the Office on Aging had the contract for the Meals on Wheels program. They wanted to get out of that business. They had subcontracted Neighborhood Alliance to provide that. And just about the time that I started with you a little over a year ago, they were here basically saying thank you for getting us out of doing this program. Okay, and Neighborhood Alliance did step up, and they've provided the services for our
And-
seniors.
And when I was talking to her today, she said basically Neighborhood Alliance does deliver food to their pantry for those seniors that do come into the Office on Aging. So they do maintain a great relationship. In fact, a lot of our organizations have started working in partnerships to kind of spread those dollars evenly and around. So I know that's why I like the Neighborhood Alliance. They got their, they have everything down to a T financially and how much it costs per meal. They go out to those that are shut-ins that don't have the ability to go out. And when, again, you got the Office on Aging saying, we're not good at this, but you are. And they did. They handed that back, and the next thing you know, Neighborhood Alliance is dropping off perishable items to them in their freezers, so that when their group comes in, they at least have food to pass on.
Right,
So
and-
it seems
and
like
they-
everybody's partnering and working and working smart with the money,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, we wanna eliminate the duplication and
Yep.
stretch the services as much as we can.
As far as we can, and we do, we pay a portion of the overall cost of that program. At least we have
Okay,
Okay, well,
historically.
so you're going to advertise the recommendation of just 2 items then?
Uh,
3.
Well, 3.
Well, he's got A and B written down here. The department will be recommending funding for two. So does that matter?
Two
for
other
after-
than Meals on Wheels.
Oh, okay.
Meals and Wheels, yes, so.
They're
if-
assuming we want to do for Meals on Wheels what we've always done. I'd
Yeah.
like to
Continue to debate
readdress that conversation.
And item number 4 is just, that's assumed that we're gonna be doing that also then.
Item
North
number
Ridgeville.
4, that is North Ridgeville's
Right.
position.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So
They have control
North
over what
Ridgeville
they do
can
with
do 2 projects. They've decided to put all of their funding into that one project, plus asking for a critical infrastructure grant to complete this, what would be a multi-year project, and complete it in the next grant cycle, if funded, of course.
Any further questions from the board?
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Garvin.
sure, you're welcome. Okay.
Public hearing.
Hmm?
Is there any public hearing?
Oh, go ahead, President.
Public comment?
We do not have any requests for public comment.
Well,
Is-
there's public
Is
here,
there
though.
any?
Do you have any public comment?
No?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. All right, so, as, I'm sorry.
Are you done with CHIP, not CDBG, right? Are we
Well,
done with CHIP?
critical infrastructure would, I guess,
Oh.
come under the CDBG portion.
Oh,
Okay, so, as I stated a short while ago, North Ridgeville is applying for $500,000 in critical infrastructure funds. 500,000 is the max. That's what they're requesting for phases 2 and 3. Total project in that neighborhood would come to $1.38 million. Sheffield Lake is also making an application under the critical infrastructure grant for $250,000. They've also indicated that they have other funding lined up. The overall project will be $2.5 million in that neighborhood. So replacing sewer lines, water lines, resurfacing the road, or I should say rehabbing the lines, and paving the streets in that neighborhood.
Well, that makes, so, okay, that's critical.
Yes.
Well, you're looking at item number 2.
Mhm.
You got that item as 250,000 for the same street, and the total cost is, this phase is 738. Now you're down here in phase 2 is 2.5 million? Or you took in the total cost, how many phases are there? It sounds like they asked for in the first one here, for 250,000, and now they're coming back for another 250,000
Right.
for the following year. And-
No, for the same year.
Oh, this is for the same year?
Yes, for the same
But
year.
where's the extra, I
We're
mean,
going after critical infrastructure dollars.
okay,
That's
so
a
you don't even know how
different
much you're gonna
category.
get, this is just the ask.
Yes, this is just an ask.
Okay.
It's very competitive. This is statewide.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought it was like, they're getting in line first for next
Oh,
year. I
yeah,
thought.
no.
Okay.
This is,
So you have to have a public hearing for that too, in order to do the critical?
it's part of this hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the 2 critical infrastructure applications we have received. Now, the need goes beyond
Right.
these 2, because we have here today Trustee Huntsman from Elyria Township. They're in the process of trying to, they've now, I guess, completed, I should say, the surveys, because we're trying to qualify an area to assist with that sewer line project that's going in that neighborhood. So there's work yet to be done in that. And we just got the rest of those surveys yesterday from Elyria Township. So that now has to be forwarded to the state for the state to decide whether or not the area qualifies. Once we have that, we can then look at what funding source we could try to find to assist the LMI population with connecting to that new line that the county is putting in.
So why are you talking, is this gonna be a critical infrastructure also that you're adding on,
We-
or?
We don't know. We can apply for one more critical infrastructure.
Okay, is that what,
Okay.
is that why you're here today?
No.
Or- Okay,
We can apply for one more and see, what gets funded. But they were not in a position to do a full application by our deadline. Okay.
But
so-
that's for residential laterals to hook up to the new sewer,
Yes,
mainline sewer, correct?
yes, that is correct.
That's moving people off of septic into the sewer system.
Yes,
okay.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, so that ends the allocation and other CDBG
Any
portion.
further? Any other questions from the public? Okay, thank you, Garvin.
Sure, you're welcome.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
We
There's
have
that public
just
hearing.
one more person, the CHIP,
No,
I just need to mention.
Right.
that's the second one.
Oh, okay.
That's the
All
second
right,
one,
sorry.
so,
I got a motion?
Second?
discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dell,
Aye.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Aye.
Okay, the next public hearing is at 3:45, but it is now 4:12. It's a second hearing on the CHIP program.
For the CHIP program, Kleinfelder is in the process of doing the application. And they've sent out surveys to the HAC committee, Housing Advisory Committee, to give their input. Once that's done, we'll be coming before the board in that next hearing to discuss the number of projects and what that would look like. We are eligible for $1.6 million in funding from the state for these programs. While the CHIP program can address a number of different things, it has been the history of the department that its strength lies in doing the repairs and renovation programs. So likely that would be the recommendation, but I'm not certain. We'll have to wait and see what they come back with. So this one was very short.
Okay. To be determined.
Yes. Any questions?
No, sir? Questions?
No.
Nope. And I don't perceive any public comment? Okay.
I
Thank you.
move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Gallagher,
Aye.
Commissioner Dell.
Aye.
I don't have any public comment on agenda items. C, resolutions. Number one, appoint 3 members to the Community Reinvestment Housing Council for township-wide community reinvestment area in Larry Township in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 3735.67A3.
We do have 3 names. Do we have them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we need a motion to put it on the floor?
Oh,
And then we'll
I
have
move
some
to
discussion.
approve? Sorry.
I'll second.
Okay.
Discussion.
I was waiting to
Discussion.
show it. So do we show it? on
Okay.
the-
Thank you, Rick Hutman, for joining us tonight. This is a new project for Elyria Township, and kudos to grabbing control of your destiny in your own hands and forming your own community development area. Our job is to appoint 3 trustees based on the commissioners, and the 3 that are appointed by the 3 of us are Rick Hutman, Carol Gallardo, and Mike Baker. We then need to do 2 trustees appointed by the planning commission. So we will have to confer with the planning commission and get those appointments, and then those 5 choose another two, and that forms the inaugural body of the Community Development Corporation. My understanding is you have somebody that's waiting to see what assistance is available from this program. So we. So we want to make sure that we respond, and again, it's a good deal, it's in total local control, and I give Elyria Township credit for doing that. That's it.
Yep.
Anything further?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, so we announced the names already, so we don't really need to show it.
Nope.
Okay.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Dell?
Aye.
Commissioner Gallagher?
Aye.
And just for the point, it's called the Community Reinvestment Housing Council.
Yes,
And I guess that's it, isn't it?
that's it. So there being no further business in this hearing, we're adjourning to the,
No, we're just adjourned.
We're just adjourning?
we're just adjourning?
Adjourn.
We don't have anything for stormwater?
That's
That's
a separate.
separate.
That's
That's not on TV, so,
Oh, okay.
unless you want it.
So are we adjourned?
We're
Yeah,
adjourned.
And we got,